Joshua chapter 6. Now Jericho was straitly shut up because of the children of Israel. None went out, and none came in. And the Lord said unto Joshua, See, I have given into thine hand Jericho, and the king thereof, and the mighty men of valor. And ye shall compass the city, all ye men of war, and go round about the city once. Thus shalt thou do 6 days. And 7 priests shall bear before the ark 7 trumpets of ram's horns. And the 7th day ye shall compass the city 7 times, and the priests shall blow with the trumpets. And it shall come to pass that when they make a long blast with the ram's horn, and when ye hear the sound of the trumpet, all the people shall shout with a great shout. And the wall of the city shall fall down flat, and the people shall ascend up every man straight before him. And Joshua the son of Nun called the priests, and said unto them, Take up the ark of the covenant, and let 7 priests bear 7 trumpets of ram's horns before the ark of the Lord. And he said unto the people, Pass on, and compass the city, and let him that is armed pass on before the ark of the Lord. And it came to pass, when Joshua had spoken unto the people, that the 7 priests, bearing the 7 trumpets of ram's horns, passed on before the Lord, and blew with the trumpets, and the ark of the covenant of the Lord followed them. And the armed men went before the priests that blew with the trumpets, and the rearward came after the ark, the priests going on and blowing with the trumpets. And Joshua had commanded the people, saying, You shall not shout, nor make any noise with your voice, neither shall any word proceed out of your mouth, until the day I bid you shout. Then shall ye shout. So the ark of the Lord compassed the city, going about it once. And they came into the camp, and lodged in the camp. And Joshua rose early in the morning, and the priests took up the ark of the Lord. And 7 priests, bearing 7 trumpets of ram's horns, before the ark of the covenant, ark of the Lord, went on continually, and blew with the trumpets. And the armed men went before them, but the rearward came after the ark of the Lord, the priests going on and blowing with trumpets. And the 2nd day they compassed the city once, and returned into camp, so they did 6 days. And it came to pass on the 7th day, that they rose early about the dawning of the day, and compassed the city after the same manner 7 times. Only on that day they compassed the city 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time, when the priests blew with the trumpets, Joshua said unto the people, Shout, for the Lord hath given you the city. And the city shall be accursed, even it and all that are therein, to the Lord. Only Rahab the harlot shall live, she and all that are with her in her house, because she hid the messengers that we sent. And ye in any wise keep yourselves from the accursed thing, lest ye make yourselves accursed, when ye take of the accursed thing, and make the camp of Israel a curse, and trouble it. But all the silver and gold and vessels of brass and iron are consecrated unto the Lord. They shall come into the treasury of the Lord. So the people shouted when the priests blew with the trumpets. And it came to pass, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, and the people shouted with a great shout, that the wall fell down flat, so that the people went up into the city, every man straight before him, and they took the city. And they utterly destroyed all that was in the city, both men and women, young and old, and ox and sheep and ass, with the edge of the sword. But Joshua had said unto the 2 men that had spied out the country, Go into the harlot's house, and bring out thence the woman, and all that she hath, as ye swear unto her. And the young men that were spies went in, and brought out Rahab, and her father, and her mother, and her brethren, and all that she had. And they brought out all her kindred, and left them without the camp of Israel. And they burnt the city with fire, and all that was therein, only the silver and the gold and the vessels of brass and iron they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord. And Joshua saved Rahab the harlot alive, and her father's household, and all that she had, and she dwelleth in Israel even unto this day, because she hid the messengers which Joshua sent to spy out Jericho. And Joshua adjured them at that time, saying, Cursed be the man before the Lord that riseth up, and buildeth this city Jericho. He shall lay the foundation thereof in his firstborn, and in his youngest son shall he set up the gates of it. So the Lord was with Joshua, and his fame was noised throughout all the country. With the fall of Jericho, we enter into a new phase in the Hebrews getting into the Promised Land. And now all of a sudden, it's war. Now, the gates were closed to Jericho. They had 2 walls around that town, very, very high walls. And at the top, it was what we now call a tell, which means a mound. And it was a site that was built up, we think, over maybe 7, 8, 9,000 years, and probably the longest continuously inhabited community on the face of the earth. There's fabulous springs there. Sun shines warm all year round. Just great for growing dates and other things. Would have been a piece of paradise if you'd lived there. Now, what we know is that it wasn't a huge city in terms of what we usually think of as cities. The area at the top, which is the residential area, and where all the people would have lived, unless you had a few living in a sort of slum conditions in between the two walls, which were only 30 feet apart. The top area would have been about 6 acres, and we figure about 200 people living per acre. And so that would give you a population of 12 to 1,500 maybe for the town. And they had 2 walls, 30 feet apart, and the inner wall, the one that actually was directly protecting the town, its top was by the calculations we have, some 45 or 46 feet above the ground level that the other wall was standing on. And although they're only 30 feet apart, it means that the hill on which that big fence stood, the big wall stood at the top, was almost straight up and down. And it would have been impossible to attack and go up that hill. Even if you made over the first wall, you were not going to make it over the second one. Just that simple. So the Lord had to get another way to do this. And so what he did was, he wanted to show Israel that he was in charge, and it wasn't their might that was going to do this, but his. And so he set up a bunch of things. They go around the town every day for 6 days. We have the Ark of the Covenant, which is basically the symbol of the Jewish worship. They have the shofar, which is the ram's horns, and they just walk around. And the second day they go around. The 7th day they walk around 7 times, and they blow the ram's horns, and the walls fall down. And the Hebrews can go right straight ahead, and these were mud brick walls. Okay, so like mud bricks, just the way they'd been making in Egypt, and they fell down. And they found the archaeological evidence that, yes, these things fell down. And so they were able to go up over top of the bottom wall because those bricks fell, and the ones on the top fell, and they just made a ramp, and they could just go right up. Now, the interesting thing is that in the north end of the community, the end that was closest to the hills where the 2 spies could have hidden for the 3 days that they were being looked for, the wall didn't fall. And there are a couple of houses that are built right into that wall that obviously didn't fall. They were out of mud bricks too. That could have been, just could have been, where Rahab lived. Isn't that interesting? Anyway, there's a great deal of controversy about the years and the dates and all the rest of it. I don't put too much faith in it. When they found the actual city level, there's just city 4 out of numerous cities that they built, one on top of the other. They found a 3-foot thick layer of ash and charcoal from the burning of the city, which is described. And they found the jars, great big huge pottery jars full of grain in every house, pretty well. They were all left. Now, grain was extremely valuable. It was more valuable than cash in reality because you could eat it. You couldn't eat the cash. But the Israelite people were told to leave it all. Only take the gold, silver, brass, and iron, and that was to go in the temple treasury. Don't take any accursed thing from the city. We'll find out in the next chapter or so that somebody did and that it caused a problem, but they basically left it all there. The chronologies about who's responsible for what we'll leave to somebody else, but I don't see a problem. I just see that somebody's miscalculated someplace, and I think I know exactly where, and we'll talk about it when we get to that point.